Hello everybody, welcome back to the Allcott channel. I hope you guys are doing very well. This is the one, guys. We're here, my England 11. I've got so much to chat through here. You're going to get my thoughts on England, that whole situation, the thoughts on the squad, the thoughts on Gareth Southgate, the thoughts on how Gareth Southgate could set up and looks like he's going to set up. And then finally, my team. The team that I think, if we got to that Euros final, the team that I would like to see set up, the starting 11 that I would like to see. Before I get into the video, I just want to say thank you to you guys, because this channel is doing really well right now, and I'm so grateful for that. It's such a buzz to put out a video and to have people watch it, basically. And 8 months ago, this channel was on its knees, to be honest. Like, I needed to go away and have a break, and I did. And I've come back, and you guys seem to be enjoying it right now. We're getting close to 100k. I'd love to get there as soon as possible. So if you are feeling generous today and you do want to subscribe to the channel, we got so much goodwill from the Euro tier list. It was amazing. And it was exactly what I wanted my channel to be, like a place where there's lots of discussion, but it's done in the right way. And so if anyone who's subscribed from that video or since that video, having watched it, thank you so much. But let's get ourselves there now. Let's get ourselves to 100k. And also let's get excited about England, right? Let's talk about England, because my thoughts on England are very, very passionate. And the reason for it, as much as it's about the sort of cultural side, the ability or the possibility of sort of some national pride, right? And if you're English, then you might feel that. If you're English, you might not feel that. You might feel cynical about England. And that's fine. But it's also a choice, right? And you look at every other country around the world, and I think often I'm quite envious over the fact that those different countries have a culture that they can get behind and they can be optimistic about. And I think when I look at England, I'm like, what a country we've got here, right? Well, I'm trying to go too political. This is like a stunning, exciting, multicultural, first world country that we are lucky to live in, right? So that's first thing says. I'm proud, and I love the fact that of what England is and what Gareth Southgate has kind of created a picture of when it comes to what the England squad should stand for. And again, roll your eyes. If you want to roll your eyes, fine. But I'm telling you now, as much as I appreciate all the subs, if you're not wanting a place of optimism or positivity when it comes to England, this isn't the channel for you, because there's going to be a lot of videos when the Euros turn up where I'm going to be positive and optimistic and hoping for the best, because I'm not going anywhere, right? And why are we football fans? We're football fans for that summer in 2018, for Euro 96, for finals, for big occasions. That's what it's all about, right? So with this England squad, instead of having any kind of entitlement, and again, maybe this is me being a lowly QPR fan who's like, wow, I get to support a team that's got the likes of Harry Kane and Marcus Rashford and Jack Grealish and Henderson and all these different players. Like, that's pretty cool, right? But the thing that I'm really excited about, and I always get excited about when it comes to international football, is that coming together, right? The beer flying about, right? So yes, I'm going to hype this team up because it's a really good squad. Yes, I'm going to hype up our chances. And if we don't win it, so be it. But I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm going to buy in now, okay? So if you do want to buy in now, this is the channel for you. If it's not for you, then fine. When you see an England video, do not click on it, right? Because I will be getting behind this team. I'm going to struggle in the England-Scotland game because I'm half Scottish. But apart from that, I am going to. Okay, so those are my thoughts on England. And also the big thing to say, because we're going to get into the teams in a sec, is that this squad's really good. And there's loads of depth here. And so if Southgate picks a team that I don't like, I imagine that the thing that I like about Southgate is he seems quite logical. And is he going to play 3 at the back? Is he going to play 4 at the back? I don't know. But whoever he picks, they're going to be some really, really good players, right? So again, just get behind the lads, basically. Right then, guys, so hopefully you've subscribed to the channel and you've hit the like button. Let's get into looking at the teams. And let's kick off with Gareth Southgate and this 3 at the back. because this is something that is a big talking point. And actually, if we are going down that cynical route, and of course what we know is when we go out of tournaments, there's this fallout generally where someone's got to be blamed, there's got to be the scapegoat. The scapegoat's going to be this. The scapegoat's going to be Gareth Southgate playing three at the back, if he does play three at the back exclusively. I don't think he's going to do it, but I kind of understand why he has done it in the past. But I feel like this team has outgrown it. So have a look at this team here. This is the team that played against Belgium. Now, the two games against Belgium are quite interesting. There were a lot of injuries for both teams in both of the games. But we played the exact same system in both. And I think a big reason for it was the fact that Belgium matched us up on this. You had Lukaku playing up top for Belgium, and then you had De Bruyne and Carrasco playing in these spaces here. And so they were looking for a bit more comfort and cover from Henderson and Declan Rice in terms of stopping these two guys here. But as time's moved on, I feel like we are a better team than this now. And I think generally in football, it's something I haven't spoken about properly on the channel, but football's about concern. Are you concerned about the opposition, or are they concerned about you? Okay, and England, I think, still in some of these games against the likes of Belgium, Spain, Germany, those guys, we are going to be concerned. And I think the reason we're concerned is because of the centre-backs and the pace of those two centre-backs and the ability of teams to sort of get in behind us. That's why someone like Kyle Walker has been playing for us as a right-sided centre-back. And 2018 World Cup, I loved it. I thought it made sense. I thought you've got the power of him to drive with the ball through these central areas of teams are and step in and be confident with the ball, to do an overlap on a right back if he wants to as well, just because he's got so much speed and pace and just, you know, he's a fantastic, you know, top 10 right backs in the world, right? But also his recovery runs for the likes of Dyer and Maguire, and also a team that's going to dominate games. That's how teams are going to get in behind you. It's down the other end. It's when there's this space in behind. That's where teams are going to get hurt. And I think that's where Gareth Southgate was concerned, for Christ's sake, where Gareth Southgate was concerned about England, and in particular Maguire and Dyer. Trippier played in this game. We could talk about him at some point. I think he's not going to be playing left back for us in the Euros. But that was the reason behind it, because we were concerned about the opposition. And I get that. But the problem you have with this team is that if we're trying to pick the best team that we can, and say I'm picking the best team I can with this system, there's only a couple of changes that I make. The two changes that I make, Stones has to play. Stones is one of those he's been too good, and for me, he can come and sit there, okay? If we are going to play the three at the back, I think you continue with Kyle Walker, because I think he offers everything you need in terms of the recovery runs and playing on that side, and we've got that depth of talent with the likes of Trent and Reece James. And this is the other thing, actually, I've got to talk about this now quickly, is that with this team, let's remember how good this squad is, okay? So the likes of Trent or Reece James or Kyle Walker or Kieran Trippier, and the list goes on, Ayling, Matty Cash, Lamptey if he was fit, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, so many great fullbacks we've got, right? So with that in mind, whoever Southgate chooses, I'm not going to be too mad about it, because we've got so many great players. I think it gets to a point where you get your squad, and I think I've seen that with the squads recently. He wants so much flexibility in the squad that then when he gets to the tournament, you go, who's on fire? Who's playing well and who fits this game specifically? And so that could be Reece James, it could be Kyle Walker, it could be Trent, especially in that right back area. It's a really tough one to choose who you want. But going back to it, if you are going to do this, I think you've got two options. You've got Henderson as one of these two. The problem I've got with this is that you've just got so much firepower on the bench. And look, DCL would come out, Harry Kane would come in and be your forward. Let's take Reece James out here. But it's these two positions. This is where I feel like you're wasting the talent that we've got on another centre-back that you don't need. I think you need players who are going to break between the lines, who are going to dominate. And now I understand with someone, say, like Walker, it allows maybe Trent to play a little bit higher and you can play that way. And it's, you know, it comes a 4 almost. But really, you still want Walker there for those recovery runs a lot of the time. And I just don't think it's the best use of this England squad, because you've got the likes of Sancho's not going to be able to start. You can only start 2 of all of these players. Not DCL. Sancho, you can only play one of those 2. The likes of Foden and Grealish, you can only play 2 of these guys. You're only allowed to play 2 of these guys. Sterling. this feels like a waste when you can take out one of these players and play with a midfielder like Henderson or Mount. Again, that's another talking point that you've got to make. I just don't think we're utilising the best players that we've got here. And for me, that's why I wouldn't have any of these players. But if you are going to make me pick a team, if they're playing three at the back, I think you take him out. I'd be actually intrigued to play someone like Chilwell or Shaw. I don't mind either of these guys for this position. I think what we saw in the Belgium game was we saw Rashford when he got closer to Kane. I thought that that's when it was a DCL in this game. You had someone running in beyond. And I think that's going to be important for England. And I think that's what Rashford can offer us. So I would actually play slightly different. I would play Grealish and I would play almost Rashford in a 3-4-1-2. That's how I would play. That's how it would look for me. Because you've got the pressing ability of Henderson if he wants to press in here. Rice can tuck in around that side. You could do the exact opposite with Henderson on that side. And I think the important thing that you would see here, and this is going to be a theme for me, is Grealish getting the ball in the right areas. I did a video recently talking about ranking attacking midfielders. And there were a few comments talking about Grealish and saying, oh, he's a left winger. He's playing left wing. He's not a left winger. He can play as attacking midfielder right through the centre. And I think with this back three, if we're going to have to do it, what I want to see is Harry Kane being able to get into the penalty area as much as possible. And what you'll have here with Grealish is someone who can literally patrol this area. And then it gives the freedom, and it's someone that you can trust, right? So Rashford can go and get beyond. Harry Kane cannot, as soon as he sees Grealish get on the ball in that area, he can trust him. He can trust that he's going to go and beat a man, and he can start to turn and try and get himself into the penalty box as well. Grealish for me is one of those must picks. You guys know I love him, and the reason I love him is because you can trust him on the ball, but also he's going to win. I want him in this area. The reason I want him in this area is because he's going to win fouls for us, right? And if he wins fouls in these areas, then that's pretty frightening. And also, when I get back to the sort of concern or being concerned, I think we should be brave. I think we should be brave that they should be concerned about us because of the quality that we've got here. And so if you're doing that, if teams are concerned with one person, you can go and focus on that guy. What Grealish does for me in this team, and look, again, you could play Foden because that's maybe a bit more energy going beyond. Mason Mount's another great option as well. But for me, I would play Grealish in this formation because having him in this area, it really stretches out the pitch. And by that, I mean, you have Rashford going beyond. Kane might be here or might even work these channels here. Trent, you might try something different here and go for a different a fullback. Even someone like Callum Hudson-Odoi is not out of the picture just yet. Could be interesting in that position. But by having someone who just stays in the middle in Grealish, but also someone who can take players out of the game, it's going to really stretch the pitch for us. So if we have to play three at the back, and let me reiterate this, I don't want to see this. But if we do, that's the team that I would put forward. Right, guys, here we go. My England 11. We get to the Euros final. This is the team that I want to see. The formation that I want to see 4-2-1-3. I want to see 4-1-2-3. There we go. Much better. Let's get into it. So, with that in mind, I'm going to go from the front to back and I'm going to talk through my thoughts and reasons for it. In goal, Pope and Pickford. I think I've been quite honest on this. I feel like you need to not make mistakes. You've got to be able to concentrate. And yes, the distribution is going to be important at times, but I think Pope's isn't that bad. And I think the most important thing is that he can command his area and he's not going to make mistakes for you. And for that reason, as good as Pickford is on the ball, I feel like he needs to make the tough decision now, Southgate, and play Pope. Pope would be my goalkeeper. I think yes, you can chuck in the fact that he hasn't played for a big club or he hasn't had that kind of pressure. I don't buy it. And also I think the mentality and the general mental state of the goalkeeper in terms of confidence is crucial. And I think Pope just brings that confidence. He brings that calm, you know. And I think he's, especially coming for crosses as well, is going to be important and set pieces. I just think Pope's the guy. I really like what he's about. And Pickford, I think there's just been too many mistakes, too often, despite his ability for England. Actually, he's played very well for England, but also his ability with his feet. I think it's more important that we have a cracking goalkeeper there. Like I said, I'm going to play 4 at the back, and the fullback positions are really difficult because you've got Walker, you've got Trent, and you've got Reece James. Now, over the course of the season, I think different players offer different things. And actually, if you're playing a certain midfielder in my team, you maybe choose Walker. Or if you're playing a different kind of midfielder, I think you play Trent. I'm going to pick Trent. And now, I've said on this channel before how much I love Reece James. I love him. I think he's just such a good footballer. And I feel like maybe it could be a year from now. It could be 2 years from now. I feel like the ceiling for Reece James is so high. But I've also said in the past, I love him as a midfielder. I'll be honest. But for the good of the team that I'm going to pick here, I'm going with Trent. Walker, I think he will be of use at different times. And actually the thing that you might want to do, if you want to have that flexibility to go to a back 3 and not have to bring on another player, is that you might want to play Walker at right back so that you can go to a back 3 if you need to, or even within the game if you would want to, and you could bring someone over to the right-hand side. But I don't think we've got the players to do that without making a sub, and for that reason then I'm bringing Trent in as our right back. Again, I think it's about us being on the front foot, and I also think the passing range of someone like Trent is going to be integral for the way that I want this team to play. His ability to sort of find his man, but also find those long reaching passes. We're going to need to use the pitch because I think most of the time we're going to dominate possession. And we're gonna dominate teams, and so we have to use the width of the pitch, or we have to transition super quickly. And what he possesses in that right boot is pretty special. So that's why I'm bringing Trent into this team. I know he's had wobbles along the way, but I think that's down to a myriad of reasons. Okay, into the centre back positions. Like I've said, I'm going to play 2 centre backs, and I feel like this is quite easy. I think John Stones has come in for Man City, and he's just been so good. And he has to play. And Maguire, I did a video looking at the best team from the Big 6. Maguire was one of those 2 best centre-backs when it came to the stats. Maguire's had a fantastic season, actually, overall. And his ability to play on this left-hand side, I think, is really important. If you're going to play a back 4, John Stones has been brilliant, but he's played on the right-hand side. I think that's really important. You don't want to bring him in and then play him on the left-hand side. So Maguire can do that for us. Then we move over to left-back. And this is tough because you've got Chilwell and you've got Luke Shaw. For me, and this is going to be a running theme, is partnerships are so important. And so with that idea of partnerships, I feel like you've got to go with Luke Shaw at this moment in time for a couple of reasons. First of all, he's just been superb, hasn't he? His stamina, his work rate, his ability to get up and down, the key passes, the assists. He's been a really good attacking fullback, but also I think defensively he's been very strong as well. You've seen that in a lot of the big games this season. And the other reason is that partnership with Maguire. I think that's an important one to remember. These two have been playing with each other for the last couple of years, but in particular this year, consistently, they know where each other are going to be. And that kind of partnership is important for me. And so that's why Luke Shaw gets the nod ahead of Chilwell when it comes to my team if we were in the Euros final. We move into midfield. Now, I think there's one position that is sewn up for me. There's a player that he's just been fantastic this season. I think the other great thing about Declan Rice, who is that player, is, again, versatility. Gareth Southgate wants that versatility. And if he's going to have that versatility, what Declan Rice can do, if you needed him to, could drop back into this position. He's very confident on the ball. His ability to drive with the ball has been really impressive this season for West Ham. I think he offers everything. And I think he also has that defensive mindset to really protect this area for them, but play on the front foot, but also start attacks himself as well. So he's your defensive midfielder in this team. And I think he can fill in a lot of space and just protect this team, because ahead of it, I want as much attacking options as possible. The next one is tricky because I've got Henderson and I've got Mason Mount in my next two. And the role of this player is very important. Of course, Henderson should be back. a couple of weeks after the international break, so he is, all being well, going to be fit. You've got the leadership of Henderson, but with Mason Mount playing in that role, you've got incredible energy. You've got more of a goal-scoring threat as well. You've got someone who can maybe run beyond a little bit more. And again, in that ranking video, the defensive output of him in terms of his intelligent pressing is something that we can't underestimate. And so these two are really battling it out for this position in this midfield. Because the next one for me is that full-on attacking midfielder. So there's going to be times when this player's going to need to drop in and be another midfielder. And then there's times when we've got the ball, can make those maybe darting runs, because I think the other midfielder is one that's going to be on the ball a little bit more, but is comfortable themselves. Again, I'm going to look at partnerships here in terms of the chemistry of the team, but also that kind of understanding of filling in for different players. And because I've picked Trent, the reason I've picked Trent is because I would pick Henderson. The experience that he's got, I love Mason Mount, but the experience that Henderson has got and the free reign that he could allow for other players to offer, and the ability that he would kind of unleash Rice a little bit for me. Because there's a few options here, right? What happens is you have Trent, who's able to kind of push on because he'll have someone like Henderson filling in, which we've seen numerous times for Liverpool. Trent plays better when Henderson is in the team because he fills in those gaps for him. But he's also on the front foot when he's defending. The other thing as well, Declan Rice goes for a run. Why not? Go for it, son. Because Henderson can fill in there as well. And also, we've seen this quite often. We saw this in the Belgium game, actually. But we've seen it for a lot of teams recently. Xhaka was doing it for Arsenal. That ability to drop in and become a third player as well. You could do it that way as well. To create that three at the back in terms of the space for the team, to find a way to get through a low block or a mid block. Henderson just has that versatility for me, and defensively, in terms of filling in, I think you could see both sides of it, both the pressure but also being able to drop back and marshal a midfield. That's why I would put Henderson in over Mount in a game against the likes of Spain, France, those big teams that you're going to play in the semi-finals and the final. Now it gets really, really tough, because I think the easy one is, of course, Harry Kane. Harry Kane is, is going to be on the pitch. So you want to get the best out of Harry Kane. I'm going to play a left winger, a right winger, and then, of course, an attacking midfielder. The other one that's probably easy for me, and you would have expected this one. And look, you've got Foden, who's great. You've got Grealish, who's great. Mount could play there as well. But what I said in that previous setup, the three at the back, I want Grealish to get on the ball in these areas. And you just cannot deny Jack Grealish. You can't. I think there might be... And Foden off the bench, I think, could be really, really exciting. Really, really exciting. So Foden doesn't start for me. Grealish has to start. I know, I've said it before. Again, it's that crucial area. Get him in this area where he's going to win fouls. I think he can score goals. His goal scoring has gone up this season. And maybe that's one thing to think about with someone like James Maddison as well. If Southgate was going to go down this road, or if it was me, Maddison would probably... when I look at it tactically, you might wonder, is Maddison someone you want to get into the squad so that he can score these goals? But Grealish in that area, I just think is really exciting. And he's going to be able to sort of set free other players and get the best out of Kane. Because as much as you love Kane sort of dropping back and picking up the ball, that also then lends Grealish the ability to have a free role at different times. When he sees Kane go, he can stay out of the way and you can find him here. And then you can use those two wide players to make diagonal runs into the penalty box and score goals themselves. So you've got two nice decoys there where Harry Kane can forget about dropping deep when he sees Grealish get on the ball in these areas. But if Grealish comes out here and Kane goes and gets the ball, then you've got another player who is an option out of the way to keep the width of the pitch. I think it's so important for us. And I think Grealish's intelligence will be important. Now, the final two positions. This is where I really, really struggled. And I lent on partnerships and experience at the end of it. On the left-hand side, let's start with the partnerships. I love Rashford. I love him. And I think what's been a real theme of this season has been the ability to sort of run in diagonal. And you have that player that drops in deep and then that player who makes that diagonal run. You see it with Raheem Sterling on that left-hand side for Man City. But you also see it with Heung-min Son and Harry Kane. And I think there's no reason why we can't see Rashford, who wants to make those diagonal runs. And also Rashford, who wants to deep down probably play more as a forward than as a winger. I think you can allow him to make those runs because if he sees Grealish here, Rashford again can go and make those diagonal runs or stay out wide. He can do both of those things. Same with Harry Kane. I want Harry Kane in the box as much as possible. Grealish will allow that, but he'll also allow Rashford to play on the shoulder a lot more. And Rashford plays on that left-hand side ahead of Sterling for this reason. The fact that you've got Luke Shaw behind him. Again, I think these partnerships are important. They're so important. And Shaw and Rashford have been fantastic. And it's those split seconds of knowing he's going to be here, he's going to be there, that's going to create the through ball and is going to create goals for this team. So Luke Shaw and Rashford as another partnership, I think that's important to have those two there. And so then you go onto the right-hand side and it's really difficult, really, really difficult. Because you've got Sancho, for me, you've got Sterling, and you've got Saka. Saka with the inexperience, I don't think he's got enough credit in the bank to be in this team. You then come down to Sancho. I mean, Sancho probably hasn't got he's got much more experience, but he is a frightening talent, and he plays on the right side all the time. But Raheem Sterling, I think you have to play him. The experience that he's got, and the way you would play him is a bit more of a Raumdeuter, right? So as much as he can play as this wide player, and there might be moments where you can do that, because Trent's going to play up high, he actually can play a bit like a Salah role. He can do that and play a bit more central. Look to get in beyond here because he does have that great understanding of space and making those darting runs. And as a right footer, he'll be comfortable doing that as well, and maybe getting to the byline and pulling back and creating a little bit more for the opposition. A bit higher up the pitch, he might be able to again make those runs from a wide position and make those diagonal runs in behind Harry Kane as well. But the other thing as well is I think we saw this in 2018 is actually we didn't mind him coming short and picking up the ball, and he did that quite often for England. And I just think you've got to get him in the team. You've got to get him in the team. You think of the goals that he scores a lot of the time. It's at the back post, tapping in goals. He can do that on the right-hand side as much as he can do the left-hand side. And so I think you've got to find a space for him, but at the same time you want the best chemistry you can have in this team. And I think with this team you've got two players who are good on the ball. Maguire you might be a little bit concerned about, but you've got Rashford there. Henderson helping out Trent and allowing him to get a bit further up, which allows Sterling to play a little bit more central for me. Harry Kane getting in the box that little bit more than he normally would because you're leaving that space in for Grealish to get on the ball. You can trust Grealish anywhere on the pitch with the ball. Henderson offering that cover for Rice as well. Rashford and Shaw with their partnerships. Maguire and Shaw with their partnership as well. You're going to get the best out of Rashford in terms of him being able to go beyond as well. I just think it's a really fluid team that is looking to be attacking, it's looking to score goals, and it's looking to play to the strengths of 99% of everyone. Yes, Sterling wants to play on this side, fine. But I think Rashford's finishing is better on that left-hand side. And if you're going to have that guy who's going to make those diagonal runs, which Sterling can do as well, I'd rather have Rashford there than Sterling. That's my team. That is the team that I would love to see play. It's a team that would play, hopefully, with confidence and flair, but also have that safety net of Declan Rice and Henderson. And I think what's really exciting is that if you've got to go for it, you can take Henderson off and you can bring on Mount. If Grealish isn't having a great game, you can bring on Foden. If Sterling's not getting into the game and Rashford's having a bad one, you bring him over here. You know, Sancho, again, you can bring him on for Rashford. The mix is great. Trent, if he's having a bad game, then fine. If you need to shore it up, you take off James and you bring on Walker as that right back just to be a bit more defensively solid. You could do the same if you want to then play a back three. Rice can drop into the back three. So many options, guys. I'm excited. I'm really excited. And the teams that we're going to play, Scotland are going to play three at the back, and so you're going to have to break them down and have real width. So that might be a game where you want maybe Sancho a little bit more than a Trent, because Trent's going to actually play, he's actually going to play a bit deeper. He's going to play here, isn't he, Trent, rather than being a player that gets down to the byline. But again, you've got Sterling who can do that for them. But when you're going to play against a deep team that's going to play three at the back, that's the other thing. You play against Scotland. Scotland have got so much energy defensively. That might be a game where you play Foden, who plays quick one-touch passes, instead of someone like Grealish, who's going to want to dribble the ball a little bit more. The options are really endless. Yes, there are concerns about the centre-backs a little bit against the best teams in Europe, in the world. But we've got two good players in pretty much every position. And I think we can be really excited about it. So that is the team that I would love to see play. But, Gareth, do your thing, mate. But bring it home, okay? Something's happening here, guys. Get excited about it if you're an England fan. If you're not, you've probably clicked off by this point. So, yeah, who cares, really? Right, that's my team, guys. There's going to be more England content, of course, as the tournament becomes and progresses. We're going to be looking at all sorts. And so if you want to be notified when I drop a video and you want to get me to 100k, then please do consider subscribing to the channel. Hit the like button as well. Can we hit another 10k likes on this video? That would be wonderful. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know your team in the comments below as well. And I'll see you guys very, very soon.